What's up everyone? My name is Shaelyn and on this channel everything's alright. Today's video is me showing you how I pose for pictures with hemiplegia. I want to disclose this before I really get into the video, but I wanted to say in no way am I trying to promote the stigma of trying to hide our disabilities. I think it's a beautiful thing to self-express and showcase what you're comfortable with. So don't take this video the wrong way by any means. I'm just trying to help somebody else that might have the same insecurities that I have had before and still do have. I'm more so doing this video because I've personally struggled with this topic internally, and I've actually never heard of anybody talking about something like this in our community online before. I thought, why the hell not bring it up? I touched on this topic as well as body image issues in another video, so I'll put that clip in here. Looking at my own reflection after my stroke for the first time, or the first few times, or all the time for that matter, is one of the most jarring experiences. Put it this way, you know yourself as one thing, and then no matter how hard you try, you never look the same way you did, even close to the way you did ever again. Like, I see things about myself that nobody else sees that's different, and I'm aware of that, but it's not just how others view me, it's about how I view myself and how that affects me personally. Speaking of looking at myself, I used to be in love with taking pictures of myself and having my picture taken, but now it's a complete ordeal to be in a picture. I have to strategically pose myself to look normal, or if I'm unable to, like in a group photo, then I feel vulnerable because more of my disability is visible than I want it to be, and that's a whole other level of embarrassment. And on top of that, that's always something that's in the back of my mind when I'm in any kind of social setting. Seeing my own reflection or even just a photo of me now that I've had a stroke has given me a complete different level of body dysmorphia that I never even thought imaginable. So hopefully from that clip you can understand how this has affected me personally and my self-confidence. If you have hemiplegia and your condition of your disability is similar to mine, or you're at like a similar stage in your recovery as I am, then what I'm going to say in this video will definitely apply to you. But obviously everybody's different and we all have different capabilities, so not everything that I say is going to work for everybody. I feel like that's obvious, but I feel like I also have to say that. So let's get into it. This is how I pose in pictures with one paralyzed arm and one paralyzed leg. I'm going to be referring to pictures that I have on my camera roll so that I can put them up on the screen to kind of better analyze the way that I pose differently in pictures and to kind of show you like real life examples of how I've done these poses. So let's start with individual pictures, so not like group pictures or pictures with somebody else, just me in the picture. Let's start with the classic. I'll have like little cute names for all the poses, I'll come up with them. But basically this one isn't necessarily like hiding the fact that you have hemiplegia. Not showing it off, but not hiding it either. I kind of just let it happen. So right now I'm relaxed, so it's not as visible as it usually is. But if I were to be in more of like a toned up kind of situation with my arm, then I mean, I would just kind of pose normally. I don't know if I like am just letting one leg bevel kind of out, or if I put one hand on my hip, hand behind me. Whatever it is, I'm not necessarily hiding my hand and I'm not necessarily showing it off, but it's just there and it is what it is, I guess. Next one, let's call this one the hair hide. So if you have long hair like me, putting your hair all the way on the one side that your affected arm is, and then turning to the side, maybe beveling your leg, maybe just keeping your leg straight or letting your leg rest outward, your hair kind of will hide the arm. Let's call this one the prop hold. I don't have something to demonstrate with, but you'll just have to go off the photo that I show on the screen. This one kind of goes hand in hand, no pun intended, with the hair hide pose. If you have a prop, and especially if it's like a larger size prop, like a bouquet of flowers, it's really good, like the picture I'm showing. Typically, I'll just hold the prop with either my thumb and my 2 fingers, or even just 2 fingers, and then use the remaining fingers to grip onto my paralyzed arm so that it kind of gives the illusion that you're holding with 2 hands. And I'll turn to the side, obviously, so that it's a little bit more hidden. This one I can't really demonstrate because my camera angle is not pointing at the ground, but you'll just have to trust by the picture, wherever it is on the screen. I'll call this one the look behind. This one's good because you can lean back with your able arm and then look over your shoulder at the camera. And I mean, I guess you could do this standing up too if you just like did one of these. And then by turning, your torso will hide your paralyzed arm. And that goes the same way when you're sitting on the ground like I am in the picture. Same thing, it just kind of hides it because it's just in front of your body. It's not in the view of the camera. And that one's similar to the hair hide too, in the sense that you're blocking it with a portion of your body. So the hair hide, your hair was blocking it, and then the look behind, your body, your torso is blocking it. Let's call this one the knee hook. These names are so unhinged. So same for this one, I can't really demonstrate it, and there's no way to do this one really standing up. But if you're sitting down somewhere and you have your knees up, use the tone in your paralyzed hand to kind of hook onto your knee like this. You can see in the picture how I'm doing it. And then you can lean back with your able arm so that it kind of just looks like you're resting your paralyzed arm on your knees. And it kind of just looks like a, like a relaxed kind of posy pose. This one's a good one. I'll call this one the hand hold. It's pretty self-explanatory. All you have to do is grab your paralyzed arm, let it kind of relax. It might take a second. Just take some deep breaths if you need to, but then it kind of just looks like you're holding your hand and looking cute. Or you could even hold your wrist if you wanted to hide, like if your wrist looks kind of bony when it's bent with tone, then you could hide it with your hand. Like that. Let's move into pictures with someone else. Let's do a classic one. I use this one the most often, I think. I just tell kindly the person that I'm with that I'm going to put my paralyzed arm behind their back while they're standing. So it kind of looks like, you know, you're holding them close to you. You just face the front, and it might like push on the person's back a little bit, but that's fine. If they're a stable person, they'll be able to handle it. And you just kind of face the front with your chest, and then whatever you want to do with your able hand, you can put it on your hip. You can put it on the person's chest or stomach, or your stomach if you're doing like maternity photos. I don't know. But yeah, that's a good one. That's the one that I would use most often, I think. This is a kind of another version similar to the classic. I'm gonna call this one the side hug. So I use this one most often with my husband. So again, you're gonna put your paralyzed arm behind the person, and then instead of turning your chest toward the camera, I leave it facing the person, and I'll put my able hand either on the chest or on the belly, and just kind of look toward the camera and smile. You can again bevel your knee, stand up straight, or put your hand on your hip, whatever you gotta do to make it look natural. Your arm will be hidden by the person again, so helps with insecurities. This is a really good one. I'm gonna call this one the arm hold. I only have one picture of this, I'm pretty sure. Me and my husband, I randomly did this like very spontaneously on our wedding day for our wedding photos, and it actually ended up being our favorite photo from that day. Your significant other or the person you're with, whoever, partner, whatever, can put their hand in their pocket or just kind of do one of these. And what I do is I use the tone in my paralyzed hand to hook around the person's arm. You can see by the picture where my paralyzed arm is. Then I kind of either just like rest my head on their shoulder and then use my other hand to kind of just hold above it or over top of it. It makes for a cute picture. I love that one. I think this is the only other time that I've ever done this one too. I'm gonna call this one the shoulder rest. I typically never usually think of the poses that I'm doing, especially with my husband. It's usually just very spontaneous. I think this is the case for people that I'm most comfortable with, so like my sister, my mom, my best friend, my husband. I think I get in my head a little bit and think a little bit more technically when I'm in like a group setting or when I'm posing with somebody that I'm not really comfortable with. So for this one, basically what I did was my husband was holding the camera for a mirror selfie. Basically, I took my paralyzed arm. Again, I utilize the tone in my hand a lot as like a hook. So that's a theme in this video, obviously. But I basically just put my paralyzed hand on top of his shoulder, and then I held it down with my able hand. And then I kind of just posed. I do really like that one. That one ended up being really cute. Oh, okay. There's another version of that pose. Me and my husband were at a wedding. We were sitting side by side, but the cameraman was to our left side. So I was technically behind my husband sitting in a chair. So say you're the camera, my husband was sitting here, I was sitting here, we were facing this way. The camera was over there. So I had to look over, but instead I kind of just switched my sitting position to face the camera a little bit. I put my able arm over my husband's shoulder and smiled, and that just kind of blocks my paralyzed arm anyway. I don't even have to use it. I have a couple pictures like this. I'm gonna call this one just the handhold. If you're really comfortable with somebody, this is really cute for pictures with your significant other. Get them to just figure out a way to get their fingers intertwined with yours and hold your hand, and then they can pull it down for you. And you can even just like take a second together to breathe and relax your arm. And it ends up looking like very natural, so that's a nice. This one is a classic that I have done since even before my stroke. I'm gonna call this one the handhold cheek touch. I use this one most classically with my best friend Sab, but I have also used it with my mom, so I'll put that picture in here too somewhere. Basically, all we do is face each other and then drop our arms down and hold hands together and put our cheeks together and then smile at the camera. I have quite a few pictures like that with my best friend Sab. Yeah, that's just a classic, I don't know. This one's similar to the last one, but not quite the same. This one I'm literally just gonna call a hug because that's literally what you're doing. Obviously, preferably if you can face your able side to the camera like most of these poses in this video, just hug somebody. I have a cute picture with my mom doing this. I was pretty intoxicated. I think it was my 21st birthday, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think it was my 21st birthday. So don't mind that, I'm a little silly. But yeah, that way your left side or your paralyzed side can be hidden, less insecurity, and it's just comfortable. You're just hugging the person that you love. You can do that when sitting or standing, obviously. That's really all the poses that I can see from pictures that I've taken in the past several years, since my stroke at least. I hope that this was helpful. I hope that you guys were able to get some ideas from this video. You know, this was actually pretty fun for me to go through and see all those pictures and be able to create this video for you guys because, like I said, I don't know of anybody who has had tips like this. It can definitely be taken as I'm promoting hiding your disability, and I don't want it to be taken like that at all. As somebody who has had hemiplegia for nearly 8 years now, believe me, I've gone through a lot with body image issues and everything like that and insecurities, so I know what it's like to just want to be able to hide it some days, and other days if I want to showcase it so be it. But you know, a lot of the time I do tend to want to hide it. So I hope that this resonates with somebody and it helps somebody feel a little bit more secure when they're taking pictures by themselves or with other people. Because yeah, honestly, I used to love taking pictures before my stroke, and that was something that I was really worried about. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Follow me on all my socials linked in the description down below, and I'll see you next week for another new video. Okay, bye!